Good evening, race fans, and welcome to PSGL's F11, where we go full screen and full throttle for your racing enjoyment. My name is Webbo. I'm here to commentate on the race tonight, as always, and I'm very pleased to welcome back to the commentary booth, Branch. Hey, Branch.
What's going on, Webbo?
Well, what's going on is we've got huge news for the Drivers' Championship. Our championship leader, FaZe Max, has retired from the championship just today. Massive development. Other things in life have taken over. I think it's a work demand that was unforeseen. But crushing for FaZe Max to leave from the lead of the championship, having got 2 wins under his belt. The shape of the championship is going to change completely. He currently leads the championship with 48 points from Salad with 36. 1 point behind is Huberto Mancini on 35, and his Mercedes teammate Jibuk is on 33 points. So we're expecting to see Branch Manch head on out of the championship picture. Sorry, not Branch Manch. We're heading to see FaZe Max heading out of the championship picture very soon, and Mercedes, who have 2 guys in the top 5, currently on 68 points. Then we have Aston Martin on 48, Red Bull on 46, Alpine on 42. So we are really close at in the Constructors' Championship. We're heading to Great Britain, Branch, and it looks like it's raining, typically.
Yeah, not surprised at all by that. Yeah, I'm excited. I haven't gotten to commentate on Silverstone in a while. This is a great track, especially on the game. And I think this is the first time I'm commentating since the new performance update.
Right.
Because they have changed the way the cars are driven, so the cars are slower now. I believe they've done a lot of work with more the drag than anything else, so the cars are slower down the straights,
yep,
and just a little bit slower through the corners. Overall, probably about 2 or 3 seconds slower over the lap. So it's not necessarily that big of a deal when you think about it, because every driver is going to be affected the exact same way by this, on paper at least. Some may be affected more than others because they may have been used to the driving style of the older cars just a little bit more, but either way, everyone's going to have to deal with it at this point, so they don't really have a choice.
No, absolutely. I haven't been able to see a weather forecast, but typically we see drivers coming out on intermediates and being fueled for several laps, if not the whole session, Branch, when it's raining.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, these tires do take a while to warm up, and a lot of the time it can take more than a lap to warm them up, so it's not a terrible idea to do 3 or 4 laps of qualifying, because generally that 4th lap is always your best one.
Yeah, and the track will dry out at different rates depending on the rate of rain and spray and how much people are sticking to the racing line. But it's always changing, and you don't want to be in the pits when the track is at its best. So we've got lead McLaren, Enro. Lead McLaren just having left the pits first, so we'll do him the honour, Branch, of riding along on board Enro and see his first attack at a fairly green track.
Yeah, here we go down the front stretch. I'm excited to see how he goes into turn 1, because this is a very tricky turn in the wet. He takes it very cleanly though. Had to lift off obviously, but down into turn 3, hard braking zone, into a little twisty section. Can be very difficult with traction in this zone, especially in the wet. It's good traction out of that corner though. He looks really locked down right now. Down the straight, no DRS because it is raining. Too dangerous for the drivers. And down towards, I believe this is Luffield, correct?
Brooklands first, then Luffield is the right-hander.
Oh, missed the apex on Luffield though. That's going to cost him a lot of time. Obviously not his first lap though, or not going to be his best lap. So, not too worrisome. Going down this backstretch, the old pit straight, as they call it. Flinging it through this right-hander, going through towards Maggots and Beckett's. Very famous corner set. Through to the left-hander, through for the right-hander, again for the left-hander having to brake, and braking even more again for this last right-hander, for once again throwing it back for a left-hander for down another straight.
Yeah, I think they modelled parts of Kota on that section, and you can see why. Absolutely
Yeah.
thrill ride through there.
Through sweeping right-hander down towards the final chicane sort of section. Quite difficult to get the section perfect, especially in the rain. He got it pretty good though, a little bit of traction halfway through, but there's his lap of 137.2.
137.2. His teammate crosses the line even better, 37.2. And we have Matty about to cross the line. He's just starting his lap, I believe. So let's see. I think we've got, is it Bobby? Bobby's about to close out his first attempt, looking a little bit clumsy. Wow, over the club section and across the line for a 37.9. There's lots of time in that final sector to find for him.
Yeah.
I think is that Gibbert goes fastest on a 36.4. Significantly quicker than everybody else on these first laps. Vapor Shadow seems to have retired already from qualifying, and Tsunoda in there in the Ferrari. J11 or Jim? Is it Jim? I guess it might be Jim. First time I've commentated over this guy. I'm going to call him Jim or Jim. Franco is on a lap. I'll just check out where Jamie is. Jamie is a little bit. Yeah, so we'll track with perhaps I think Salad stayed in the pits, so let's track with Bobby, who's just ahead of the rest of the field on the track, and he tackles Cops cautiously, and who would blame him? Yarmo is here to race. I think he's going to join in a moment. Yarmo apparently has a bruised finger, so yes, we'll all feel very, very sorry and very bad for Yarmo and his bruised finger. Welcome everyone joining us on the stream, especially welcome to Franco's fan club, who revisit us all the way from Argentina. And yeah, Vapor Shadow spun already, so into Vale for Bobby, round through the very slow club corner. He's dancing around here, Branch.
Yeah. Much better lap. I don't think he gained a position out of that, but it was a solid lap. Jamie with a 136.4 just behind Jibik. So,
Looks
pretty fairly widespread at times right now. Top 7 separated by more than a second at the moment.
Yeah, and Franco has invalidated his first lap. The question now for the drivers is, and this especially for Yarmo, for Vapor Shadow, who've already crashed out and I know are watching on stream, what's the forecast for qualifying? Are we expecting rain all the way through? Do I need to be eyes on stalks with every driver on every lap, or can we chill out if they've done a fast lap? What's the situation? And if you've got a forecast for the race, we'd love to see it. Florian, following his teammate Enro, Enro is invalidated again on this lap, so Florian's out there just trying to better his time. He's half a second up already.
Yeah, this could be a pretty good time. I think this will put him in the top 3 as long as he does not invalidate through this last section right here. He did go pretty slow through Stowe right there, so maybe he lost a little bit of time there, but this looks pretty good through his lap so far. These two McLarens have been on track with each other for the last few laps. There goes Florian up into 3rd place, just a couple tenths.
A good improvement for him. Very good stuff. I think, is Jibuk out, or is it Huberto Mancini? He's finally going to put in a time. He is. He's about to cross the line. 37.6. Only good enough for P8 for our 3rd place championship standing driver.
Bobby put in a 4th place time with a 136.9, just ahead of Sonoda.
Yeah. Excellent. I think Giovi, our Gio in the Alpha, is about to finish a lap. Oh. He's doing it in style with a big slide and gets up to P4. So you definitely think there's 2 or 3 tenths in that final corner to find.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not surprised to see people doing that. It's so easy to do that, even in the dry in that corner. It's so easy to have oversteer. You just have to be so careful on the throttle.
Absolutely. How have you found the cars since the performance update, Branch? What's their characteristics?
Personally, I don't know. I haven't really noticed too much of a change in the way they drive necessarily. I think it's just overall they just kind of feel slower. So
Yeah.
I guess in a way it makes him a little bit easier to drive if you think about it.
So maybe yeah, you've got a little bit more thinking time, but maybe a sort of balanced reduction in various attributes around the car. Not necessarily you haven't lost front downforce. Florian gets a time in 36.2, so provisional pole for Florian.
Yep.
Nice. I'm just watching with Franco, who's on the back stretch of the track through Maggots and Beckett's.
Gio was spun, hit the wall. He kept it out enough to keep himself going, but he definitely lost some front wing there.
Franco invalidates again, yet to finish a lap. He struggled out through the exit of Chapel all the way across the grass. I thought he might have lifted enough to qualify his lap, but no. Andy decides that 3 laps is enough on these intermediates. So we've got 8 minutes of qualifying left to run. Jarmo is not allowed to partake in qualifying because he joined late, but at least he's got in the correct car, which I think there was a little bit of a stress about. Enro, another invalidation. So you're either pushing hard enough to challenge when you've got a safe banker in like the top 4 or 5, or you're invalidating. And Club and Luffield look absolutely treacherous branch out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of corners that are looking pretty treacherous right now, but yeah, the drivers are definitely struggling. I don't, like you said, I don't know if we don't have a weather forecast for the race yet, so it's possible that it may be a fully dry race and these guys are on unbelievably dry setups and just no one has grip right now. But you know, who knows?
Would you always favour a fully dry setup, even if it cost you a lot of stress and grey hairs in qualifying?
Yeah, I think I probably would. Generally, I feel like my stronger pace is going to be in the race, so
right.
I'd rather set myself up to be stronger in a race setting than a qualifying setting.
So big lift for Jibuk through Cops, much bigger than you will see during the race, even on full fuel and worn tyres. But the track seems to have a fair amount of grip on the racing line through the high-speed corners. It's all about getting the car out of those slow-speed corners of Luffield and Club. That is the real problem, when there's no downforce to help the car grip under these conditions. Jibuk looking strong though. I think this might be a provisional pole coming up if he can get through Vale and Club here.
This looks like a pretty good lap so far. I don't know if he's going to try and set another one after this, but there is a full lap, 135.8.
A big gain in the final sector as well, which I thought he was going to take it fairly steady. We've temporarily lost Branch. He stuttered slightly, so hopefully Branch will be back with us very soon. But let's see who else we can be watching while Branch rejoins. We've got Tsunoda. Here he comes. He's on his way back to the party. We've got Tsunoda on a lap. Microphone issues potentially over there in Texas.
I think it's actually internet issues because it kicked me out of the game too.
Okay. He did well to get back in so quickly. Well, Tsunoda is attacking the lap now. He's currently P7. No major gain through the first sector, but he's not a huge distance away either. It's going to pay to keep running. Everyone electing for fresh inters at this point. Oh, this one's completely ruined now for Tsunoda, as his car desperate to go into the old pit entry out of Luffield. Again, we just see that same issue for our drivers, struggling around. What about Jim? Jim is a new teammate for Aston Martin. In fact, the only Aston Martin on the grid tonight, because we've only got 15 drivers. So we'll have a number of single car teams. Aston Martin are going to plummet because I think Panda's not driving tonight and FaZe Max has exited. But of course, Jim, if he has joined us as a permanent driver, or any Aston Martin permanent driver, should probably keep the Aston Martin points of FaZe Max up to this point. So they will have that advantage of the work the previous drivers put in for the team. Jim, super short shifting endlessly through Club, and a 2.2 second improvement on his best time. That's good enough for P9 so far, and around he sends the car in style. So who else have we got? Just Jam Raven out there at the moment. Jam Raven in the AlphaTauri, Franco's teammate. Everybody else in the pits or on an outlap, so we'll catch those front-running drivers shortly. 3.5 minutes left to run, so if they're coming out now, Branch, I expect them to be running 2 or 3 fast laps rather than coming back into the pits after this run.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe some people try and underfuel a little bit, maybe get one really good lap in here at the end.
Okay, Jam Raven only good enough for the last place on the grid so far. Let's go and have a look and see. I think it's Florian is out there, and he's just a tiny amount under his time. So not enough to get pole position just yet, but enough to gain on his own time and stretch his lead from his teammate, maybe. The car washing out, he just held it through Chapel, and he's lost a small amount. He's just over his delta now. Can he regain it back through Stowe? Fabulous set of corners. Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel, Stowe. I kind of wish they didn't build Violent Club. I kind of preferred the old layout, but I guess we need an overtaking place. No better for Florian. In a row, 3/10 under through the first sector. His teammate. So he's currently got 4/10 to catch his own teammate. Let's see where he comes after the second sector timing beam, which comes after Chapel. Just about here. He's about 4/10 under, so enough to be very, very close to his teammate. Jim has retired from the session. We saw him have a wayward moment after setting that P9 time. So let's see.
Out of Stowe lost a little bit of time there. I don't know. It didn't really look like he lost traction. Just didn't have enough speed going through the corner. So he may have lost 10th or so.
A big under rotation. And
he still beats his teammate.
Manages to crosses the line going backwards and beats his teammate and gets to second place on the track. One of the rare places on the calendar where you're able to actually stuff up the final corner exit and still cross the line faster. I seem to remember Ayrton Senna doing that in Donington. He calculated that the finish line was so close to the final chicane that he was able to straight line it and virtually crash, pitch it into a spin and cross the line faster than if he actually tried to make the corner. So maybe that's all that Enro's been trying to do. It was a deliberate move.
Yeah.
Jamie looking good though to challenge that one.
He made 8 thousandths behind Jivic for that.
Jamie for pole. Yeah. So Jamie with a fastest entire lap. Good work. Florian is on a fast lap as well. Currently 3/10 over his teammate. Well, we've got a number of cars about to finish their penultimate laps. Maybe Giovi, no better. Let's see. We've got Matty. Did make a 2/10 improvement. Huberto Mancini. Nothing major. Salad still hasn't set a time and is sitting in the pit, so won't be setting a time tonight. Jamie weaving his way around on this next lap, but what about Florian, because he was looking pretty good. Florian about to tackle Maggots. Into Beckett's now. You always want to get on the power just too early through Chapel. It tempts you out of there because it's a very long apex branch.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta be very careful though, because that grass on the entrance into Chapel can be very, very dangerous if you take too much of it. Jivic just missed pole by 4 thousandths of a second. We're getting very close right now. So
close to optimal for F11, aren't we? Yeah.
Oh! Tried to do it again. This time it did not work.
No, that's right. No improvement for Florian, and he's been deposed by Tsunoda in the Ferrari. We've got, I think, so some cars finishing their laps. Is that Huberto Mancini has invalidated? So Giovi about to finish his lap out.
I don't know how good this lap's going to be. Coming out of Stowe, he was sideways multiple times before he got the
Okay.
straight. Oh,
he improves, but yeah, up to P7 so far for him. I think everyone's almost done. Yarmo's just going around, I think, to put a setup on. I think that's the only thing he's allowed to do. So I think Branch, unless Matty is doing anything, and he's not, he's heading into the pits. So I think that's all she wrote for our session. It looks like Jamie's got it by 0.004 of a second, as you say, Branch. Wow.
That is a close margin right there. You don't expect that at a track like Silverstone, especially in the wet. There's so many mistakes you can make. To have a lap time that close to each other at the top, very interesting.
Yeah. Franco's got all of Argentina with him in the chat, but unfortunately didn't set a time and will start from the back, just ahead, I imagine, of Yarmo, with Salad alongside, and Vapor Shadow, of course, who also had an issue. So we had 11 drivers actually just managed to get round in 18 minutes, managed to get round and set a time.
Yeah, that looked like pretty treacherous conditions. If it ends up being a dry race, it will make a little bit more sense, seeing how everyone seemed to struggle so much with the traction.
Yeah.
And now I guess we just wait for the game to figure itself out.
Exactly. Yeah. Or 11 seconds to pass, whichever is sooner. Yeah, it looks like we're okay. Yarmo says it's dry in the race, so completely different challenge for the drivers, perhaps more in line with what they were expecting, but those who have been racing around on the Inters will be just hoping to get around safely. It looks like Jamie's got the Carlos Sainz face and number glitch, but Jamie takes pole at 135.7, and Branch, feel free to take us through the rest of the grid.
Alright, so Jamie on pole, Jivic 0.004 of a second behind him in second, then Sonoda rounding out the podium. Then we have the McLarens of Florian and Enro rounding out the top 5. Bobby, Gio, Maddie, Jim, and Huberto taking up their top 10, and then Jan Raven, the last of the drivers who set a time, and Vapor Shadow, who spun, Yarmo, who had a quali ban, and then Salad and Franco also did not set times in this session.
Yeah, interesting to see Vapor Shadow and Yarmo potentially starting ahead of Tosma, Salad and Franco, who have they at least attempted to set times. Whereas Yarmo just did his setup, but maybe because he stayed on track through that time, the game decided he was a safer bet to start at that little bit higher up. Everyone, of course, will start on free choice of tyres. And what would you do in their position here, Branch?
I think it would kind of depend on where I am on the grid. I think if I was closer to the front, I'd probably want to go for a one stop possibly, just try and stretch it out a little bit, and if I was in the back, I think I'd maybe try and go a little bit more aggressive and make up some positions if there were two stop.
Okay. And the optimal tyre strategy for here, for the front runners?
It's a little bit different now, because, you know, normally whenever I do this, it's the front runners starting on soft tires, but
yeah,
that's not the case here. Or maybe it might not be the case here. I'm not 100% certain, but with the tire wear at Silverstone, I would not at all be surprised to see a lot of these guys go medium to hard.
No, indeed. So it is a high deck track, Silverstone, and it shouldn't be too much of a problem to get the hards in the operating window.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Awesome stuff.
Right.
So we got our formation lap beginning.
Well, the front two are on soft tires.
Yeah.
5 of our 15 have chosen to go onto softs. The other 10 deciding to go onto mediums. So
yes, the more people that choose mediums, the easier the job is for the medium runners, and the fewer places they stand to lose as a result. But yeah, it's definitely a split grid in terms of. Oh, and talking of which, we've got an Alpine turnaround on the exit of Abbey. Didn't make it through that. Sorry, on the exit of Farm, I think. Didn't make it through the slow corners. And I keep expecting, I don't know about you, Branch, but every time I see that camera angle looking at the exit of Farm, I keep expecting that virtual fan screen that kept popping up through the 2020 season.
Yeah.
Someone cheering "Come on, Lewis" or something like that. But there you go. So the guys just warming up, and yeah, the AWS saying soft to medium lap 11 or soft to hard lap 10. But I don't tend to put a lot of stock in what that graphic tells us. What about you, Branch?
No, I don't think so. AWS in the game is just about as useful as AWS in real life.
Yeah. I remember there was discussions at my workplace about us switching to AWS as a new platform for cloud storage, and they were surprised when I expressed my dismay. So they hadn't necessarily been watching F1 themselves. Lots of tyre warming going on, some very aggressive runners, and some people risking disqualification from this session. It's safe to say it happens quite often, and you can pick up damage and ruin your tyre warming on formation lap, end up disqualified. But Jamie, it will be on pole on the outside of the approach to Abbey, with Jibuk next and Tsunoda directly behind, then the two McLarens of Florian and Enro. Bobby will take our start from 6th place and Giovi in 7th.
Alright.
We've got 5 lights. Oh, a long hold, it's lights out, and go, go, go. PSGL's F11 with Jamie leading from the front, and Jibuk challenging into the first corner, but it looks like the Ferrari of Tsunoda got ahead of him. Jamie fighting back, Tsunoda just taking a wide entry to try and defend. But it looks like, I think Jibuk will be hung out to dry on the outside of the village corner. They will run side by side down, and I see some cars running wide down into the back straight. They continue to fight side by side into Brooklands. We've got a wing plate has gone. I think that's a Mercedes wing plate, secondary contact, and he he manages to ghost to the middle, and we managed to escape a further pileup. But Branch, what did you see from the back?
It looked like it was pretty clean. I saw Vapor Shadow lose a few positions. I think he tagged the back of someone going through a slow speeds corner. Oh, a lot of guys going wide through cops there. Bobby nearly put it in the wall. That was very close.
Wow. Difficult to know where to look. The car's desperate to make up places because it's difficult during the long race to make up places. The straight's just not quite long enough, and the stop's not quite severe enough. But the Alpine of Matti gets the inside into Stowe. Will he hold on because the inside becomes the outside into the Vale corner? But he does. He manages to get favourable line through and make a place up.
That was respectful racing right there. Not a lot. You don't see that a lot. Being able to go side by side through Stowe like that, but that was pretty impressive.
Talk about impressive, Branch. Yarmo's up 8 places into P5 in the Haas. And we've got a turnaround. We've got McLaren collides with Giovi. Both cars out. That'll surely trigger a safety car. But I didn't catch who triggered what, but I think it was Tsunoda and one of the McLarens colliding, or possibly, it must have been Tsunoda and Florian colliding, which then collected Giovi because they hadn't managed to ghost in time. And now we find ourselves in a safety car on lap 2 with, Yarmo having gone up 10 places up to P3, way higher than he would expect. But surely this is now too early for any kind of pit stop from our drivers, Branch.
Yeah, I would not expect to see anyone coming in unless maybe Maddie wants to come in for softs. Looks like Jivik already gave up on the soft tires after his spin on lap 1. Maybe he had damage as well, it's possible.
Yeah, and I think Salad went in the pits as well and has put on hard tires.
Yeah, so at the moment, out of our 5 soft tire runners, on lap 2 already 2 of them are off of it. Or we only have 2 of them left. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jamie leads our field from the front. That's where he started, and Tsunoda took one place at the front, but Yarmo is the talk of the first lap, having made up those places. I see where his advantage came from, Branch. He's not wearing a helmet.
Yeah,
that's going to reduce the weight.
Maybe a disqualification coming his way.
Yeah, absolutely. Enro is in 4th place in the McLaren. Vapor Shadow has had a torrid session. He crashed out of qualifying before he could set a lap, and he's retired already from the race, I think under the safety car, so potentially pulled a George Russell. We've got Matty in 5th place in the Alpine, so the Alpine's doing well so far. We're
gonna get our or at least my first look at the Aston Martin safety car.
Oh, sweet. Okay. That'll be novel for a good lap, and then we won't want to see it again. I think. Vapor Shadow didn't have a setup.
That can't be good.
No,
I've done that before. That's not good.
Franco and Salad have pitted again. I wonder if they came into contact or were tangled up in the issue with Vapor Shadow.
I think there must have been some damage there. I wouldn't be expecting to see someone pit like that unless there is damage involved.
So now medium tyres for Franco and Salad. Salad's been on 2 different sets of tyres and it's lap 3. So that's certainly interesting. To finish off the grid order, we've got Huberto Mancini in the championship leading Mercedes team in P7, with Jim in 8th, then Jan Raven in 9th in the AlphaTauri. The second Mercedes is Jibuk, and the second AlphaTauri is Franco, having made another pit stop, we think, almost certainly for damage. So only Jamie and Matty, who started on the softs, are still on those soft tyres. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have some strong pace compared to the rest of the field, at least at the start of this stint. But I don't know how long those tires are really going to last. I'd have to say maybe just a couple more laps. Maybe get to like 5 or 6 laps of wear before they have to go in.
Yeah.
The safety car obviously will help that out a little bit, so maybe they could get to 7 laps and throw on some hard tires. But we'll have to see.
No, absolutely. Just having a look through the chat. Few fans of different drivers that have exited, not happy, obviously. Jibuk is certainly dissatisfied with Tsunoda's racecraft, which is, of course, we saw Jibuk and Tsunoda come to blows. Yeah, some love for the new Aston Martin safety car. The complaints I saw in Spa in real life that these cars, these Grand Tourers that they're using, just not quick enough, Branch, to keep the F1 cars in any kind of operating window.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they maybe try to fix that at some point, because at a certain point they do get a little bit too slow, and then the cars can get really cold, and that can get dangerous for the drivers, especially at a place like Spa, where Eau Rouge is an extremely dangerous corner, and going into there with cold tires can almost be deadly.
What I was hearing was that one of the problems about the safety car, that the reason that you can't end up using like a hypercar, for instance, is there's certain safety protocols that have to be monitored. There's a certain amount of communications equipment, and two full-size adults need to be able to fit in the front comfortably and get in and out in a hurry. So the amount of cars in the world that can actually tick those boxes are relatively few. We've seen Jim leave the session, Branch, and has retired while the cars warm up because the safety car is due in, and that's when we get these accidents.
Yeah, I think he must have George Russelled it, because it looks like he's sitting on the backstretch. That doesn't look like just a retirement. I think he binned it. Oh,
unfortunate. Well, we're into the final 2 corners of the lap, and Jamie has yet to go. There he goes. He finally goes at the last moment. Yarmo losing traction in the front, but the front 3 away cleanly. What else have we got going on further back? looks like some good gaps between the drivers as they tackle these fast corners on cold tyres, and that's a significant challenge for especially someone like Jan Raven, who I see is already dropping down branch on the cold tyres.
Yeah, Jibik's really trying to get around the outside. That was 3 corners in the making for that pass. A great move right there. And now,
awesome.
Jan Raven battling his teammate Franco. They're going to go side by side, and oh no, Jan Raven gives up the position. So, smart team racing right there.
Smart team racing. Yeah, you're absolutely right. If you're on hard tyres and your teammate is on better tyres, let them go. The race will come to you later on. But out front, Jamie continues to lead this race. Big drop in. He actually drops a gear going into Cops through there. And then we've got less than a second behind Tsunoda. Similar gap for Yamo. And then over a second for Enro, with Matty close behind, Bobby close behind him, Huberto Mancini close behind him, and it's tight down there in the midfield.
Yeah. This looks like it might end up being a DRS train unless these guys start to get a little bit closer. Oh, but Jivik and Huberto are getting really close there. That was almost contact. They're going side by side to this corner. And Huberto looks like he gave the position, almost lost the position to Franco there because of it.
I think the mood Jibik looks to be in, I think you're probably better off getting out of his way.
Yeah. He's made a few really nice passes.
He's driving hurt and wounded and angry, I think, honestly. I'm sure he'll keep it together, but he's robust and aggressive in all the right ways so far. Not happy. He had time during the safety car to call out Tsunoda's driving in the group chat. So yeah, I'm hoping to hear from Jim shortly in the Discord. Let's try and see what his issue was. He is blaming himself. He's saying he's the next George Russell, which is not bad company to be in, but but yeah, not for the right reasons at the moment. Franco is looks like he's held onto the back of Mancini's car with a tow rope as they go through Cops. Has to lose some grip out there, and Salad is challenging Jan Raven through maggots.
Wow.
That was brave stuff on better tyres, but
brave.
brilliant driving. And here comes Jan Raven, who have a better line through there. Will we see a move into Stowe?
He doesn't have the overspeed on him.
No.
But he was using ARS though, so we may see Jan Raven make a pass later on.
Excellent. We're back up to the front, and the front 3 have closed up again. They've gapped the rest of the field, and they're trying to make a 3-horse race out of this one, Branch.
Yes, I'm not surprised to see this. These guys are very quick. I wouldn't be surprised to see if Jivik is able to catch them though. He seemed to be one of the faster drivers on the track right now. If he can get around Maddie and Enro, I think he might join this 3-horse race.
Yeah, they're stretching out at the moment though, and so far no penalties for our drivers. I think the reason they're not able to, Jamie's not able to get away is I'm sure those soft tyres are starting to fade.
Yeah, absolutely. He's getting to the end of the line for those tyres, so he's just trying to, I guess, get as much out of them as possible. But if Tsunoda passes him, I would not be surprised to see him dive in the pits immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
That would be a call to maybe get on a new set of tires for him.
What have we got going on? We've kind of got 3 cars, followed by 3 cars, followed by 3 cars, all in groups down the grid, with 2 at the end to make our 11-car field at the moment. Jibuk looking very tight behind Matty, but he's got a DRS train, as you mentioned, that's causing an issue. Is he spending away on ERS to try and catch? He's not going to be able to get the overspeed as Matty goes for a move, almost forced into that because he needed to take the inside line. This time Jibuk down the outside on the short straight down to the final 2 corners, goes around the outside of Vale into Club. That'll do.
He's just got incredible grip right now.
Yeah.
He looks so fast.
Beautiful job. Must mention that Matty's fighting on old tyres, but that was he's overtaking in very unconventional places.
He's doing it unconventional places, and he's being aggressive, but he's not doing it in a bad way at all. He's staying respectful to the drivers. He's getting around them. He's just great driving right now by Jivik.
He's just placing himself strategically in a place where the other driver has very little option. He comes down the inside of the McLaren round Brooklands. That will force him to the outside. The McLaren takes him round the long way. Yeah, a little bit of contact. Perhaps Gibbet could have expected that. Or at least it's inevitable if you put yourself on the outside. Now what happens is they go down the old pit straight. They scream through cops and no change of position, but he's trying to make a better line on the entry into Maggots. It could all go wrong through here. You've got to give a little bit of room, otherwise you'll never get on the power at the optimal time through the exit of club. He has lost out a little bit from the aero wake, but here he comes. DRS almost trips over the car trying to go through, and the McLaren tries to follow him, but the job was already done, and I'm sure he was using some harvested energy for that. And now we can see the battle for the podium ahead of him, and that's his next target, Branch.
Yeah, I'd have to think. Yeah, he got through that pretty quickly. That was some great driving, and I'm excited to see if he's able to catch up to these guys at the front. It's Franco in 7th place, setting the fastest lap of the race so far.
Nice work from Franco. So a bonus point in the offer for him, as he's also closing very closely on the back of Matty. So those soft tyres and Matty really struggling now. I kind of sensed that it was a lap ago, and Franco around the outside.
I was not expecting a pass there. Huberto is going to get around Matty as well. Matty is losing positions left and right unless he can somehow defend from Huberto. They're going side by side, and he's going to have the inside for Lovefield. We saw Enro keep the position on Jibic last time, but it looks like Franco has a lot more grip, and Matty's going to lose that position.
Absolutely, great moves. Matty really going backwards just because of those tyres falling off the cliff, and you think maybe lap 7 was the better time to go in, Branch, for Matty?
Yeah, I think he may have missed his window here. He's going to have to go in this lap. Jamie, I'd have to think he may have to come in soon as well, because he is definitely starting to lose some pace. The guys behind him both have around 80% ERS, while Jamie is sitting on 30, so he is really having to use it. And there he goes into the pits. Yeah,
but Yarmo looked like he was pressuring Tsunoda significantly, so he feels as if he's got more pace than Tsunoda, but who will know until we see how fast Tsunoda is, and he's stripping away at a fair rate of knots. Jibuk inherits 3rd place as Jamie's pit stop is underway. Matty surely will pit as well, and just because we're shortly after that restart, it means that the soft tyre runners will fall to the very back of the grid, but of course have 16 laps of use out of the mediums, presumably to see this race out. As Yarmo DRS into Brooklands, he won't be far enough past to claim the corner, and they go side by side yet again. How many times are we going to see this one tonight? Switch back through Luffield doesn't work, and the Ferrari of Tsunoda placing himself very nicely through there.
Yeah, that was great driving by Tsunoda, but he looks like he's going to be under pressure through cutoffs, and he gives up the position. A little bit of contact there. Gets sent wide. That's more on Tsunoda, I think, than Yarmo. Yarmo just took the racing line there, it looked like.
Absolutely. Tsunoda perhaps only went wide because he didn't yield, but we've seen the consequences when a driver on the outside doesn't yield through that corner. Anyway, he's managed to stay with him. Maybe running around the outside was better than lifting, because he's kept some momentum at least. And Yarmo trying to get away, but I think Tsunoda doesn't want to let him get too far away. And they get
all this battling. All it's going to do is let Jibic close in. Right. He's already closing more than a second than he was when he inherited 3rd place just a couple laps ago.
Absolutely. Now Matty didn't pit last lap out, Branch.
Interestingly enough, he's not losing too much time now, I guess, with the DRS train. But still, if I were him, I would want to get in and get off of those tires. Yeah,
maybe just waiting, hoping for a safety car. But Jamie's come out on mediums, so 16 laps or thereabouts for Jamie, his target, and we could see medium to soft runs from the majority of the grid. Jam Raven is the only one on a completely different strategy out there on hards right now. So the gap opening at the front, Branch, slightly here.
Yeah, it looks like Tsunoda. It looks like Yarmo may have had a little bit more pace on Tsunoda. You know, it was Tsunoda. The gaps were staying very similar when Jamie was at the front. Tsunoda obviously having the DRS. available to him. But now that he didn't have the DRS, Yarmo was able to get past him, and looks like he just has overall better pace. Tsunoda's still kind of keeping in DRS, but he's falling a couple tenths out every single lap.
Yeah. We've got a relatively tight battle down in 7th, 8th, 9th. The two Red Bulls. Wow, okay. Bobby looking hyper aggressive. Wipes out. Did he hit the back of his teammate?
He did. He lost part of his short wing. He's going to go into the pits now.
He was throwing that car around with some degree of I don't know, what would you call it? Yeah, maybe. But yeah, he looked to be making a point against his teammate, but unfortunately the only point that he's made is I missed my braking point and I crashed into the back of you.
He's
new
lost
front
more
wing.
points than gained with that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, soft tyres going on. That's
yeah,
relatively brave.
I think maybe he may have made a mistake because when the pits work, you know, obviously there's in the MFD menu you can change what tires you pick, but if you don't do
Oh, forgive us for the network difficulties. Branch is calling in from a long way away from the host server. Hopefully Branch will be back very shortly, and he's due back. But here we go with Salad on the outside of Cops. Oh, a little touch there. That was very dangerous with Enro defending hard on the inside line, as he's got every right to. But Tosmo Salad just mistiming the switchback style swing, and of course lost a lot of time on the way in. But I think he would have escaped that without any form of damage this time. But Matty has got a huge overlap of speed, just about. Salad holds on. Matty dives into the pits behind him on the soft tyres. Matty finally pits, and I'm sure we'll go on mediums for a 13-lap run to the finish. So lap 13 we have, it's half distance. Yarmo in front by 3/4 of a second from Tsunoda. Then Jibuk, Franco close behind Jibuk now. So Franco showing some great middle race pace on the medium tyres as they start to age. Franco on 9-lap-old mediums and has got himself up to 4th place. He wants an extra place though. He wants to get himself on that podium and make all the fan club happy that we know are here exactly for him. They were saying podium or bullets, I think was generally the message. I don't know if something was lost in translation there, but yeah, slightly threatening kind of fan club he's got. Slightly kind of mad ex-girlfriend vibes I'm getting, but all the same, they're here. They're here and they're here for him. Franco, P4 behind Jibuk, and the closest car to a rival on track right now to Branch.
Yeah, my apologies.
No worries.
I keep getting this glitch where the race, or my network cuts out and the race ends. So while you were commentating, I was watching a podium celebration.
Interesting.
I've never gotten that glitch before, but I've just gotten it twice in this race.
Oh, well, that's a new one. So Tommy Saul calling for an Argentinian wave in support of Franco as he bids to get himself on the podium. I think we've had that before, so I'm expecting to see the Argentinian flag light up the timing screen.
So, you say the Argentinian wave. That's what, because I've heard Crofty in commentary say the Mexican wave.
Had you not heard of a Mexican wave before that point?
Well, no, because in America we just call it a wave.
Oh, come on.
The
Mexican wave, when the fans all wave in unison and the wave proceeds down or around a stadium or down a grandstand or something.
We just call that a wave here, I guess. I didn't know it was.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know it was called a Mexican wave.
Well, yeah, it's definitely called a Mexican wave in the rest of the English-speaking world, as far as I know. Although the Aussies might have a different word for it, but an Argentinian wave might be just lots of Argentinian flags appearing in our chat. Just to double down on that vibe I was getting. The last one was an all caps message from his fans saying, if he doesn't perform well, he will die. So here he comes. That threat worked, and he goes around the outside down the hanger straight against Jibuk. Franco, fantastic pace at this point of the race. With 12 laps to run in our race.
I gotta think Jibuk may have taken out too much of his mediums early on in this stint, because right now he just looks like he just have to
Yeah.
face it. Almost lost it there. My goodness. Going through the last set of corners, he was completely sideways, hit a sausage curve, and almost put it into a wall, but luckily kept it going.
Fantastic stuff. So Jibbok, yeah, drifting backwards slightly and might be in for a relatively premature stop. He could afford to stop now for softs though, Branch, and run a 10 lap run on softs.
He could possibly do that. Obviously, he will struggle there at the end.
Interestingly,
however,
I've just got a race graphic on my screen and for the streaming audience to suggest that actually Jibbok's on less used tyres than his teammate.
Yeah, because he didn't start the race on mediums. He started the race on softs and had to pit after image. So yeah, because of that, he could go in and get another set of mediums right now, which might actually benefit him a little bit more. That's probably the strategy I would go with right now.
Well, I suggest right now we can call the middle section of the race Forza AlphaTauri, because Jan Raven is now on the attack. Jan Raven's tyres have come into their optimal working range relative to these medium runners at least. Jan Raven on hard tyres, the only hard runner having stopped on lap 1, I believe. Franco has pitted. He's got into the podium position and promptly pits, but that will do him no problems. So yeah, it looks like a popular time to pit right now, Branch.
Yeah, at least 3 drivers in right now. Jan Raven is going to benefit from this. I think he's going to go up into 4th place now. I don't know if he's planning to go to the end on those hard tires. I don't know if you can go that far on them, but we'll see. It looks like there may have been an incident with the Red Bull drivers, as Bobby is slow through Maggots and Beckett's.
Not again, surely. They haven't come to blows. This is Dan Ricciardo and Verstappen all over again between these guys. If they are going to do this, I think their team boss needs to take them in hand, because they're not maximising points for Red Bull so far, and the net result right now is that they're at the tail of the field.
Yeah, it's not going well for Red Bull in this race at all, really. Looking up at the front, Jibbok has made up a decent amount of time on Sonoda, closer than he's been this entire section of laps after the safety car. But Jarmo is really, like, as we mentioned earlier, he does definitely have the pace over these guys. Just 2-second gap on Sonoda, 3.2-second gap on Jibbok.
Yeah, and I think he's managing that. But pit stop for all the top 3 on lap 16. It's a pit stop. I think this will be medium tyres all around.
Yeah, I'd have to think.
Oh,
unless
no, they couldn't. Yeah, they wouldn't be able to finish the race because they've only used the medium tyres, the front 2 at least. Jibbok will be okay to put mediums on. So will Jan Raven actually inherit the lead here? Yes, indeed. Jan Raven to the lead of the race on hard tyres, and we'll check out their gap as the cars come out. It's building. It's up to 7 seconds in this mini sector, nearly 10 now. So if Jan Raven is going to the end, this could be wide moment through Village. Won't thank me for watching at that particular time. But at the moment, the gap to the leading cars on the previous lap is 12 seconds, and a penalty for both Jan Raven and Jarmo now has picked up a penalty. So that's very important. Jarmo, 8 seconds of penalties. So that could well be the loss of the lead.
Yeah, I think that 5 seconds actually may have come from speeding in the pit lane, unfortunately for him. So that's not necessarily a penalty that he can get taken away.
Yeah. I didn't see that beforehand, and there might have been a small track extension recently as well, because the penalty count was very low prior to this last couple of laps.
Yeah, yeah, there it is. I just took a look at Race Director, and he did on lap 16 get a speeding in the pit lane penalty. Great
confirmation. So the race leader currently having lost about a second and a half on this first lap on the new soft tyres for Jarmo. Jan Raven out there, I haven't had confirmation whether it's Jan or Jan, but Jan Raven has a 10-second gap and a 3-second penalty to Jarmo, who has soft tyres on and is closing. Franco picks up a penalty now, and again, that's not going to help his, not going to please the fan club, because it's not going to help him stay on that podium. Jamie, the only one of the front runners not on a penalty so far, racing clean as I'm sure I've seen before. I think the Alpine team do focus on racing within the bounds of the track limits. So lots of tributes to Franco coming into the chat. I'm assuming a lot of them are fake, but yeah, a little bit of a competition going on in the chat, and we thank everybody for their engagement, and make sure, of course, that you subscribe to the PSGL channel for, I think, 14 different races on the YouTube channel every week from PSGL. And
yeah, unfortunately, none of the other streams are going to be as good as this one. But,
no, of course not. And you make sure you like our video, of course, because we want to outperform all our rival divisions. Make sure if you're going to watch anything other than F11, it's you've got F11s under your belt as well. Well, Franco is now closing in on Jamie. Franco on fresh softs, so he needs to make that pass soon and gap Jamie, because their tyres will swap around. Although on 7-lap old mediums, I wonder if their tyres might die around the same time, Branch.
I'd have to think it's going to be around the same time. Those mediums, at least for the other drivers, started to fall off around 10, 11 laps, and those guys had a safety car to help them out with their tire wear, so Jamie might actually have even less time.
Franco has prodigious pace. He almost loses it. He's so close to the back of Jamie that he almost had no time to react. But Franco, twice in this race, has shown tremendous speed, and surely he's just going to blitz past him down the hanger straight.
Not even DRS used right there. Just
not the hanger straight.
Fully DRS.
I got my corners mixed up. He was on the Wellington straight, and he got him on the outside going into Brooklands. And already the gap opening up. So Franco's next target is Jarmo up ahead, and the penalty situation is as follows. 6 seconds for Jan Raven, who is now only 6.9 seconds ahead of Jarmo, who is 2.8 seconds ahead of Franco. Franco potentially with more fastest lap pace, like he's just shown, potentially on the top step of the podium tonight, and I can't quite imagine the parties in Argentina if that happens.
Yeah.
Further down, we've got Tsunoda hounding the back of Jibuk now, and Jibuk struggling tonight, I think, with time management, maybe, Branch.
Yeah, I don't know. He had such strong pace there for a while. That was very close by Tsunoda.
Yeah, they've already come into contact tonight, so Tsunoda would do well not to annoy our divisional admin Jibuk, one would think.
Yeah.
It'd be a little bit like being Sebastian Vettel and running the son of your race team's owner off the track, I think. Yeah. Not wise, but Tsunoda 4/10 back now, and Jibuk 4/10 back from Jamie. That's not going to help Tsunoda, but he has got some good grip on these soft tyres at this stage of the race.
Yeah, the softs are really working for those guys at the moment. Jibuk really trying to get close to Jamie, but Jamie with weaving down the straight, similar to Fernando Alonso when they did sprint qualifying here not too long ago.
Definitely. So Tsunoda, the lone representative of Ferrari, just runs ever so wide, slightly wide, I should say, on the exit of Copse, and will pick up a warning, I'm sure, for that. He needs to be very careful here. So far, he's picked up only 3 seconds of penalties. This time, it looks like Jibuk is actioning a pass on the outside of the Alpine of Jamie. So Jibuk around the outside and gets the job done. What about Tsunoda, who's going to go around the outside of Jamie? Jamie gives him racing room, and that just invites him down the inside into Vale, and place taken. Jamie touring around on these mediums at the moment, and you've got to wonder whether strategically Jamie's just not in the right at all tonight. We've got 5 laps to run. It's Jan Raven at the front of the field from Jarmo, from Franco. Jibuk in the mix as well, then Tsunoda and Jamie. Huberto Mancini in 7th, Matti in 8th, Enro in 9th, and then the Red Bulls at the back, Salad in front of Bobby. We will get Branch back shortly, I hope.
Yeah, I'm just.
He's on his way back into the lobby, I think. Yeah, because the invites helpfully die on you when you've used them, so you sometimes miss out if you've missed additional ones. But Branch looks to be back in. So I'm just struggling to unravel this one, Branch, as to who's going to take the steps on the podium past all these penalties.
Yeah, it's looking like a bit of a wild card right now. You know, just a few laps left to go, and these drivers, they keep. You know, Jivic earlier looked like the fastest man in the world for a second, and now just doesn't look like he has that pace anymore.
Absolutely. So Yarmo, 8 seconds. Let's call it 2 seconds behind. So 6.4 net behind Jam Raven. Franco within a shout of the lead, I would say, tonight, if he can catch these two with more penalties than him. But he's going to need to string together some qualifying laps on these soft tyres towards the end of the race. We've got 4 laps to run. Who is your pick for the win? Let us know in the chat. I have a feeling who a lot of people are going to select. Jibuk racing clean with no penalties, but some distance back, so may not be able to close in that gap. Tsunoda a little bit further behind, but yeah, unravelling this one's going to be difficult. Toss My Salad gets past Enro, and I wonder if Enro's got an issue down there. Maybe made a mistake.
Out of that last corner.
Yeah, he was nowhere near those Red Bulls earlier on, so yeah, I think that's the case. An issue for him. Bobby at the tail of the field is 37 seconds behind our leader. We haven't yet had a safety car, and we're nearing the point where we have a safety car. What am I talking about? We should just had one. But yeah, we're nearing the point where the race will continue without it. So yeah, Nicholas says in the chat he hopes Franco doesn't remember at this stage that he hasn't finished a race for some time, and has had a lot of DNFs. So let's not put that into the universe for Franco. I think he's closing in. He's got good pace at this stage, and let's hope he doesn't burn out his tyres and he can get this one to the end.
If he makes up 2 seconds right now, with the way the penalties work out, if he is 3 seconds behind Jan Raven and Yarmo, and he's 5 seconds behind Yarmo, he will end up winning the race on penalties.
Got it. So that's his target, is 2.8 seconds to catch the leader with 3 laps to run.
Jivic just picking up a penalty, and that's really going to hurt him because he could have actually maybe gotten past Franco, but with that penalty, obviously they're even on penalties now, so he'd have to get past him on track in order to do that. Unfortunate for him.
Tsunoda close in. So if everybody gets a 3-second penalty, it's going to make our lives a lot easier. Jamie stands to overtake both Tsunoda and Jibuk, I think, if he keeps this car running clean and in the position he's in. Sherman saying in the chat he thinks a P2 for Franco is on. I think a P2 is virtually guaranteed. The question is, can he get to, can he catch up sufficiently? He's done about 8/10 of that 2.8 second goal we set him at just a few seconds ago. I think he might have this one. He just needs to keep it on within the track limits to make this one happen.
Yeah, I think the only issue may be that Yarmo does have a little bit of pace over Franco at the moment, but
right.
I don't know if he has enough pace to extend 3 more seconds of a gap like he would need to in order to not be affected by the penalties. So I think Franco actually may be in a really good spot right now to win this race. He's just got to keep going and keep up with the pace that he's had so far.
Definitely, the tension is mounting for these guys. How difficult does it get to be focused and handle the ever-changing grip levels when you get to this dying section of the race?
Well, it gets sometimes you can just get so anxious because you really want to finish the race, and you want to make sure you keep in your position, but at the same time your tires are falling off. You can't get too overly aggressive because that could just lead to a spin and just one little bit of a mistake could end your race so quickly. So while these guys are probably getting really anxious, you still have to make sure you're being smart and not making any rash decisions.
Yeah, so currently Franco has the fastest lap of the race as well. He's 2.9 seconds away from the leader. He needs to be 3 seconds, within 3 seconds. Jam Raven's got an issue. No, just a temporary dropout from the telemetry and has closed right into Yarmo. So I think was trying to make a pass on. No, sorry, Yarmo has got past Jam Raven for the lead. So this could really affect Franco, because Franco's target now becomes Yarmo. And he needs to be within 5 seconds of Yarmo, and Yarmo may have more pace and was being delayed by Jam Raven.
Yeah, this is getting really interesting right now. Franco, Yarmo still has to make up 2.3 seconds on Franco in these next 2 laps, so that's going to be pretty difficult, considering they're on almost identical tires. Franco's are a lap older, but I don't know how much I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make.
Yeah. Props to Jam Raven for making these hard tyres last as long as they have. It's quite an achievement to get them to this point in the race, and to have been able to hold off the soft tyre runner of Yarmo for so long. Has in the end had to yield, and we'll see if the pace drops off now. But so far, hanging with Yarmo sufficiently to keep the DRS zone.
Yeah, he's going to get the DRS down here, and Yarmo just picked up another penalty that's going to devastate him.
Whoa.
That absolutely makes it way too easy for Franco. Jamie just picked up another his first penalty as well, but Yarmo with that penalty, I don't think he has a chance at the moment anymore. He's going to lose out to probably Jipik as well.
Yeah, it's so difficult when you know you've got to push to stretch a gap for the penalties you've already received. But of course, the more you push, the more you tempt fate with those strict steward settings on the track limits. So Yarmo virtually handed the race to Franco now. Franco, just stay within the bounds of the track, and you'll be there for a famous victory after a struggle through qualifying. Starting from the very tail of the grid. Jam Raven's tyres at 48% front left, Franco 49% at this stage of the race branch. But how will the tyres feel differently? Will there be more confidence in the hards because the deg drop off is a lot slower?
If they were 12 lap old hards, I'd say yes, but he's raced on these lap tires for virtually the entire race at this point, so I'd have to say they're probably 1 lap away from exploding.
The other question is whether everyone's got enough fuel in the car. I think after one of the races we've had with no safety car, I think our drivers will have put enough in the cars. Tsunoda makes a late race lunge up the inside, oversped a switchback from the Mercedes. But let's have a look at the front of the grid because they're rounding the last 2 corners. I'm going to stay with Franco because I think this is Franco's win. Franco wins in Silverstone, with Gibbert getting 2nd place as it all works out, and Jamie in 2nd place. Jan Raven on hard tyres from lap 2 gets 4th place. Tremendous drive. Yarmo in 5th place. I will get the position changes. We've got Tsunoda down in 6th with penalties. Huberto Mancini in 7th. Matti, the only driver to finish where he started, in 8th place. Franco up 14 places, absolutely no doubt for driver of the day. Salad will get 9th place. We'll see if Enro can get past him on penalties. No, 10th place for Enro in the final point, but Franco maximum points. Horrible qualifying, beautiful race. And made it all look fantastic in the end. And here come all the Argentinian flags in the chat. Fantastic stuff. Franco, your driver of the day for AlphaTauri.
Yeah, last to first. You don't get to see it very often, but that was a fantastic race by Franco. Just did exactly what he needed to do. Didn't do more, didn't do less. So,
no.
Just great job by him.
Really, really good job. Lifts the famous Silverstone trophy, which is the wrong colour on the game. It should be gold. And yeah, here comes. Then you've got the Mercedes of Jibuk, who had tangles and problems um, with uh, with
Sonoda.
Tsunoda. Yeah, thank you. Just reading Jibuk claiming P1. I think he's got that one wrong, but I don't think Franco's win is in doubt. Oh, it looks like Yarmo got the fastest lap right at the death, so he took that maximum away. But take us through the grid, Branch, please.
So Franco last to first win. Jibik staying where he started in second place. Jamie, our pole sitter, finishing on the podium. Jan Raven in fourth after getting a 3-second penalty on the last lap, and then Yarmo rounding out the top five. Then we have Sonoda, Huberto Mancini, Matty, Toss My Salad, and NRO rounding out the top 10. Bobby, I believe, was the last finisher, and then we have Jim, Vapor Shadow, Florian, and I didn't get to see who was 15th.
My apologies. There is a 5-second penalty for Franco that has been awarded by the stewards, I believe. So, unfortunately, that win for Franco will be in significant doubt, if not completely gone. We'll let all the fan club have their moment, but unfortunately, I hope they've all switched off and are messaging Franco and are not listening right now, because it does apparently he picked up a penalty for the previous race, so a 5-second penalty. So it does look like system admin, F11 admin, will win the race after that penalty. So I'm not quite sure how far down Franco will finish given the overall race times, but still take nothing away from a tremendous race from Franco. Salad said he had his parents drilling holes in the wall half the time. So that one's certainly going to raise your anxiety levels, Branch.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, that was a great race. We got to see a lot of battling. The Red Bulls, we're gonna have to see what happens with them because they had a few moments on track together.
Definitely, yeah. I'd certainly look forward to any post-race chat that might happen on that one. Yarmo claiming he can still win this race. Not quite sure how he gets there, but maybe. Who knows? He got the fastest lap. That we know can't be taken away. But yeah, a very, very eventful F11 race for the drivers. Yeah, any sort of last minute thoughts or takeaways, Branch?
Um, I mean, that was we saw some great racing today. Lots and lots of respectful racing. I didn't personally see a lot of the incidents that happen on track, so maybe it wasn't as respectful as we think it is. But yeah, just great job by pretty much all the drivers on the track to put on a good show.
Really was. It was an absolute classic race. A safety car interrupting the plan A's of the majority of the field, but we did have a significant portion of the race under green flag conditions, which is exactly what we want to see. Some good overtakes. Many more overtakes around Silverstone than we see in real life, so we can be thankful at least for that much. And yeah. I must apologise because I should have memorised the stewards' findings from the previous race. I think I did, and I think because Franco didn't race no, it was Monza last, so it was Monza that apparently he picked up his 5-second penalty. So I wouldn't have been as excited on stream, and maybe that wouldn't have been as good. But yeah, Franco, great job. Good driving from Yarmo. I think Jam Raven deserves a very honourable mention for getting hard tyres through almost the entire race, and Jibuk fighting back from adversity earlier in the race as well. Well, we'll see how it all pans out through the week. Make sure, as we mentioned before, that you've subscribed to the PSGL channel. We are hitting record audience numbers week after week for PSGL overall. The channel is taking off like we have never seen before, and we're getting new watchers all the time, and we're so thrilled about that one. Please make sure you like this video. Watch it a few more times if you would like to, for memory's sake and for our performance sake. And if you want to catch us on Twitter, you can find me at WebORed5, and Branch, you are Branch
I don't have a Twitter.
You don't have a Twitter,
Yeah.
right?
I need to make a Twitter. but not yet.
Okay, well, any messages for Branch you can send through me, but make sure you stay tuned for, like I say, 14 other races on YouTube every week from PSGL, 16 in total. And until then, guys, thank you for watching. And from Branch and I, we will catch you on the next race day.